We still got the ho-ho-hos, Jack.
Still Christmas.
I thought, is Santa not like camped out on a beach in Mexico with a banana hammock and like a stiff pina colada right now? He's still ho-ho-hoing. What a guy.
Truly the mucky middle of Barn Burner shows. Where
it
are
really
we?
is. Yes. Good day. Welcome to Barn Burner. It's Pinder from somewhere in the forest, and Cami from our Marta Loop studios that have been under construction since, when did this start? 2022. Also, producer Jack is with us. No boom, no ret. We'll have the band officially back together on Friday, which I believe is Hawaiian T-shirt day. So there you have it. Cami, how have your holidays been? How are you?
Oh, it's been wild. I just got back from BC, actually. Haven't been in the studio since the drinking show. I'll say the desk is still a touch sticky.
I've wiped it a 1,000 times. I don't know what we have to do. We have to burn it, maybe. It was a couple hours of cleaning night of. Drunken cleaning is good cleaning because it's like you're happy. But the next day, it smelt like bad decision and regret, that room. Did it not,
I'm
Jack?
just sad that people didn't get to see the silent disco that went on because there was still an active business underneath us. And at one point, we just turned on, we ditched the Christmas tunes. We turned up Rah Rah Rasputin, and everyone was quiet feet. Get up off the couch, break it down, quiet feet. I think we had a silent Rhett Gritty at one point.
If Rhett could Gritty, I'd be quite impressed. I don't recall that, but there's the later that show went, the less I recall about it. Funny how that works. Welcome to Barn Burner. A reminder, a presentation of Bet365, the world's largest sports betting platform. Open an account with Bet365 today, and you can bet on a huge range of markets. Download the app and make sure you use that promo code NATION when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Also, we got our super chats. Cami, you know all about the super chats. Proceeds go to the Youth Centers of Calgary. It's an incredible cause. The Youth Centers of Calgary, a place where kids after school can get a warm meal, a break from the stress that is the reality of many of their lives. Also a chance maybe to read a book, pick up an instrument, play some sports, meet some friends. It's keeping youth in our city in some good hands until their families get home from work. So all your super chat dollars are going to a great cause there. Welcome to the show. So Cami, we need to know, post drinky show hangover, was Santa Claus good to you?
That's fabulous. And you know what? I didn't have a hangover. I went to the gym the next day like an adult. I left the drinking show, made an appetizer, and went to Classy Girls Christmas. Okay.
I went to the Bottle Depot. And that bought some more beer for me because we had quite a haul.
Oh my God. No, it was great though. New golf clubs. How about that?
Okay.
And it was horrible because my old clubs were like a $40 bag and a mishmash from the secondhand sports store in Creston. And like whenever one of my parents' friends would pass away and they found like a random club in that person's garage, they'd be like, Cami, you don't have good clubs. Do you want it? It's like, sure. So we've upgraded.
That's good. When all the logos match on the golf clubs, you got a better chance of knowing what the hell they're going to do, right? Let's get to a super chat.
Still can't predict it, but
it's
doing the best we can with the tools we have.
Yes, fair enough. Let's go to Milk Tobo. Is Cami going to handle the Gator vids better than Boomer? Yes, there will be a Pinder Report today, of course, for our friends at Village Honda. Cami, you are I don't know if connoisseur is the right word, but you are you're a watcher of this show. You understand what's involved in the Pinder Report. So you're excited about your first co-pilot seat Pinder Report.
Locked, loaded, galvanized, ready to go.
All right, Jack, we got to find some more Gators. Let's go here. It is a busy day. It is a Flames game day. It is a Team Canada World Junior big game day as they face a strong American side. Flames the Canucks at the Saddledome tonight, which is interesting. The Canucks have been in quite a spot here. A lot of injuries, allegations of infighting. I don't know if I'm ready to say actual infighting, but they're missing Quinn Hughes. They're missing Philip Hronek. They're missing Elias Pettersson. You could argue they're missing their two best defensemen and their best forward. Now that maybe you prefer a JT Miller, maybe you like a Brock Besser or a Jake DeBrusk at this point, but point being, the Canucks with a full hand is not what the Flames are going to be facing tonight for the New Year's Eve game.
Well, also right after Patrick Allvin said that no trades are off the table in reference to Pettersson.
Yeah.
Good gracious, what is going on there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, if Wayne Gretzky can get traded, I appreciate the honesty. We understand that there are no untouchables. I mean, there just isn't. I mean, if you get offered Mikko Rantanen and you think you can re-sign him, you trade Elias Pettersson for him. So I appreciate the honesty, but yeah, it's not exactly the vote of confidence that is going to resonate through the room, is it?
After your team blows a 3-goal lead with 5 minutes left in regulation, hoo-wee.
Right. That too. Yeah. A tough one against Seattle the other night. Flames, meanwhile, they, 1-1 road trip. You beat the team you were supposed to beat. You lost to the team you always lose to. They dropped to 2-9-2 all time in Vegas. That's miserable. I've been there for at least 2 of them. And it doesn't ever appear to be close. I think the 2 wins they've had have been almost garbage time late in the season ones, if I'm correct. Like that's been a house of horrors for them. Not quite Honda Center level with the old Ducks. But yeah, the road trip kind of went the way you thought it would. You're supposed to beat a young Sharks team that's got some skill, but certainly you're not ready to compete yet. And Dustin Wolf is great in close to his hometown. And then you got beat by a Vegas club that, again, just seems to handle you with ease in their building.
But what's with giving Dan Vladar all of the back-to-back starts? Poor guy's probably sweating up there. Every time he sees a back-to-back, he's like, oh, again.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's gone the other way, but you make a good point. It does sort of feel like, at least for the first month, I think they made a legitimate effort to shelter Wolf a bit. Right now, it just seems to be the way the rotation's going. If you win, you stay in, unless it's a back-to-back. If you lose, the other guy goes in. So I don't know if Dan Vladar, trying to remember what happened pre-Christmas. Wolf beat Chicago. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a scenario where it plays out differently, but you're right. It does seem like, here's a Dan Vladar start. Let me guess. Good team, no run support, and not a lot of rest.
I actually think that was the way it went down on Calgary's last back-to-back. They played at the Saddle Dome, and the next day they played in Vancouver, and Vladar played in that 3-1 loss.
They've got an interesting stretch coming up. They're at home for 3 before a short road trip, and then the schedule gets really weird. They'll play LA twice in a row, one in LA, one in Calgary. They play St. Louis twice in a row in St. Louis, which feels like a COVID season schedule, which is kind of insane. Oh, we'll just hang here and play it. Was a 2-game set? We're playing baseball. And then, they'll make 1-game homestand back to the Midwest. There's some weird things coming up. It's not an easy month, January. We'll get into that in the Pinder Report as well as a bunch of other stuff. But I want to lean on your expertise. You've been doing a bunch of work over the holidays here regarding the World Juniors. So, of course, your full-time job is working with the WHL. So what have you been up to regarding the U20s and I guess league play that continues while the U20s are on?
Yeah, league play just got back to it on the 27th. We're kind of seeing the Central Division really heat up. It's kind of anyone's game in the East. So if you've been down checking out some Hitman games, like they are very much in the running. Lethbridge is really loading up. They're looking pretty good right now. So that's all been fascinating. But it's been fun to watch all of the CHLers over at World Juniors, because even when you look at some of the best stories of the tournament, Latvia in particular, a lot of the stars are kids who are playing in North America right now. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to come see them play. But if people aren't so sure about Canada right now, and they've got a huge one tonight, not only are they up against the United States, it's the annual New Year's Eve match. First in Group A is on the line. But there's also a world where Canada can finish like third. There's a world where Latvia finishes ahead of them in the standings, which is just crazy to see, which is really fun for the game. I don't think any tournament is super fun when one team is just absolutely rolling anybody. But yeah, there's a lot of people biting their fingernails through this tournament.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because it's not just this tournament. There's been, world championships, Olympics, whether the World Cup of Hockey, Canada Cups. It's not the first time Canada's been shocked. I mean, I recall, I think it was like a David Abisher performance against Switzerland at a big event many moons ago. I think it was Kristers Gudlevskis, the netminder that was in Tampa's system at the time in Sochi that stopped over 50, and Canada got a late game winner from Shea Weber on the way to gold. No one remembers that game, but at the time it was like the sky was falling. And it feels sort of like a reminder of I guess, shades of what we saw a week ago or less than that when Canada loses to Latvia. And you're like, how? Well, it's happened before. It'll happen again. And no one will remember if you win the tournament. That's kind of how it goes. Now, if you want to flame out, they're going to remember that game forever. But nobody, when they talk about Sochi 2014, where Canada won gold, talk about, oh man, like Latvia almost had them. They needed that late goal. Even in Salt Lake, I want to say in 2002, Gretzky had to come out and make some blustery speech to take some heat off the team. And that might have been the Switzerland game I'm referencing. I can't recall. But it's okay for teams that have just been brought together to not look great immediately. What's not okay is if you're Canada and you don't finish the tournament strong. And that's kind of what we're waiting to see unfold. And tonight's a huge test with the Americans.
Yeah, it's kind of all about the goals for Canada right now. They've allowed the fewest goals against in the tournament. I mean, they have 2 shutouts, for crying out loud. Carter George has not been scored on. Jack Ivankovic has only allowed 2 power play goals. They've not been scored on at even strength. That's great. The problem is no goals. They have no goals. They have 9 goals in 3 games. That is 1 more goal than Latvia and Germany have put up. So like Czechia, Sweden, the US, Slovakia, all have scored more than Canada. Granted, you can argue that Group B isn't as strong with the Czechs and the Slovaks and the Swedes and such, but 3 of those teams are literally doubling Canada in goals. There's no Canadian with 2 goals yet in tournament play. We have 9 goal scorers and 1 is shut down for the tournament now with Matthew Schaefer. So Easton Cowan's your points leader with a goal and 2 assists. That's tough. And I do think Canada definitely got spooked after the Latvia game. They came back, they shut out Germany 3-0, but they're gripping the sticks tight. They had that 1 goal lead going into the 3rd period. And I think it was actually a good thing for them that the next goal was garbage. Garbage. You had Caden Price. He's a defenseman for the Kelowna Rockets. He's a Kraken prospect, part of the Saskatchewan Mafia that they got out there right now. But just rips a shot from up high and it goes off the backboards, off the German goalie skating in. You kind of needed that because now it's proved to them that like you're still going to get some bounces. It doesn't need to be the most beautiful goal you've ever seen in your life to get past anybody. I think they just needed to prove that they could get one.
And
they've done that now, so.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the lack of goal scoring. When you put together a roster that doesn't have the most dynamic skill available, and I'm not talking about 200-foot skill, but I'm talking about like a Zane Perrick, who of course Flames fans are very familiar with, like, and your power play struggling, it's very easy for fans to be like, hello, it was right in front of your eyes. And you don't initially take Bennett Seneke. You don't initially take Carter Yakimchuk. We found out TJ Ginla had hip surgery that shut him down. Whether that was factored into the Hockey Canada equation or not, I don't know. You may. But when you see a team that struggles to score and you see a lot of high octane offensive players left off the roster, that's when people start to wonder, is Hockey Canada doing this the right way? And to be fair, now is not the right time to judge. It's watch tonight, watch the elimination round, see if they medal. And if they get a gold, hey, I mean, look, is there a higher standard than gold? No, that's it. But if this team does exit this tournament with a lack of offensive punch, you know what's going to happen. We've seen this before. It's time for a summit. It's what the hell is Hockey Canada doing? But I just think it's a little preemptive at this point. We'll have Jeff Merrick coming on in about 8 minutes, and we'll get his thoughts on it. But there is a lot of high-profile names left off this team, and I don't know if any of them are full Rob Zamner from 1998, where they literally sent a checking forward for Team Canada at the Olympics, which was like peak insanity. I don't know the prospects well enough, so we'll see what Jeff thinks. I mean, when you hear all that sort of monologue, what do you think of? And I know you're obviously employed by the CHL, but I mean, you've heard a lot of the conversations out there.
Yeah. Oh, you can't avoid it. And I have my opinions about players. I'm like, I think this kid would have been so great. But I can also see what Hockey Canada was doing when they built this roster. I think they were trying to make an emphasis on chemistry where there's some players who may not be known for filling the net as much, earning a place. And I can see why you would want to take some physical players because you can see other teams really trying to give it to Canada out there. They're trying to get them off their game that way. It's just so easy to overthink. And I think maybe it becomes more difficult when you have such a wide talent pool to pick from.
Yeah,
but of course, nothing's over till it's over. I just like, especially during the Latvia game, I was just waiting for them to get that one and then just like boom, boom, boom. And it just never came. And it was kind of the same thing that we saw last year too.
Yeah. Well, a big one tonight. What have you seen from the Americans thus far? Obviously, James Hagens is a guy that's had a lot of first overall hype. I know Matthew Schaefer is there's some competition there, but man, Hagens, there's been some special stuff shown. And what was it? He had 6 points through his first 4.5 periods of the tournament. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, he's got 6 points now. Yeah. I mean, he's leading the team right now with 6 points. Cole Hudson's right there with him. Hagens has 2 goals, so those guys both have 6 points. They've been pretty rock steady, but they've been shown to not be unstoppable. Finland was able to get past them in overtime, and that's a team that Canada shut out in their first game. And then you see Canada lose to Latvia, and then the U.S. kind of blows Latvia up 5-1. It just goes to show this is like the last level where anything can truly happen, and that's why it's such a fun tournament to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be a busy sports night. Tell us about the Cami New Year's Eve plans. I know you've got a little afterburner, but still, beyond working tonight after the Flames and Canucks, there's got to be a glass of champagne, maybe a smooch at the top of the Calgary Tower. What have you got lined up with your significant other?
My guy, I have 2 shifts tonight.
Yeah, that's okay.
Leave this. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do my Nice World Juniors recap for the WHL. Read it, whl.ca.
Okay, done.
Follow us on socials. And then I will be back here for Afterburner. And then, I don't know, last year I just wandered around in a full denim jumpsuit till I ended up at a buddy's house. But I've not had a big New Year's in some time. Maybe I'll just reenact you guys after the drinking show. I'll go toss my jacket somewhere. Devil may care. Whisper some secrets to the garbage can behind the studio.
Yeah, Jack, have we located that jacket? What's the update on the
No, it's gone. Jacket? I wouldn't know where to look. It wasn't worth my time.
We'll pass around the
I got a new jacket
for you. Really?
How's the new jacket?
A Steelers jacket.
That's true.
It is good. It's a starter jacket. It's very nice.
I saw it. It's pretty deadly. It's very Jack. It's perfect for our boy. And I'm trying to think.
Like sound when he moves his arms on it.
What he's doing, the Running Man. So yeah, Jack's jacket. Studio, dumpster behind the studio, junk room in the studio, one night stand, ship, craft, Kochek, multiple Ubers, taxi. Yeah, it could be anywhere, Jack. I really don't.
There's really no point.
I know where to start. I just don't know where we'd end.
Yeah.
It's the modern where in the world is Carmen Sandiego.
Where's Jack's jacket? Yeah.
We do have Jeff here, by the way.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, let's get right to it. We go to our guest hotline for our good friends at Crystal Waters, who bring you the Insider Hotline, and thank you to them for that. What can we tell you about our good friends at Crystal Waters? I mean, this is the time of year you probably want to have, your house operating properly. Hot water's good. You want that working this time of year for sure. Whether it's residential plumbing, heating, and cooling services, your crystal clear choice is clearly Crystal Waters Plumbing Company, with over 23 years of experience and 30,000 projects completed. It's premium quality equipment and services focusing on safety, comfort, and product longevity. Their mission to be the guardians of your home's mechanical heart. There he is from the sheet, our pal, Jeff Marek. Good day, Jeff. Happy final day of 2024.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I got beef. Oh. I got beef. I want to start off with some beef here.
Oh.
Cami, I'm looking your direction.
Oh.
All right. Right here, Cami. Right here. Look in my eyes. Look deeply. Look richly.
I'm going to go cockeyed trying to look at the camera and the monitor here. I'm just going to split.
Okay, so Saturday, I get back from the Canadian Tire Center, and I'm watching the early game on Hockey Night. Then I'm watching the late game, so I want to see the Flames, and I want to see the San Jose Sharks and see what Celebrini can do, and Askarov is putting on a performance. But Dustin Wolf is just that one puck better than Askarov was that night. He's fantastic again. Wash, rinse, repeat. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch Afterburner as well. I want to see Pike. I want to see Cami. This is great. Get in there a little bit early as they're gathering their notes. So I'm just hanging out in the chat a little bit, talking to people. Cami hops on there and makes some crack about catfishing. First of all, who's going to catfish with my name?
I did see that too.
It's a star-studded chat, Jeff. It's star-studded. We have Daryl popping in. We have Brad Treliving on the regular.
I love that, but man, aim higher, Cami. Holy smokes! Pick someone a little bit more with a little bit more profile, I was very flattered. Oh my goodness, Cami, but it's like seriously, like, come on.
I have the pleasure of
age it up a bit.
I'm just gonna start catfishing you on your own show. I'm gonna hop in the chat on the
That's
sheet.
fine. That's fine. We're there today, 3:00 Eastern, noon Pacific, 1 your time. Hop in.
I book and organize Afterburner in terms of who's hosting it and making sure everyone's ready to go. So I'll check in regularly, and there's a lot of aliases in the chat, as well as not the people they're pretending to be. So I did see the Jeff Merrick the other night, and I'm like, maybe.
It's like that great. It was like that great scene in Untouchables when Kevin Costner says to Sean Connery something about you're some kind of financial agent, and he said, how should I know that? And Sean Connery says in a great line, who would claim to be that who was not? I.e., if I was going to big up a profile, I'd big up something a little bit more than that. Anyway, how's everyone doing today?
We're good. It's a big sports day out here. Obviously, Flames and Canucks. I don't know that there's a better time to play the Vancouver Canucks than right now with the alleged infighting, all the injuries, the not exactly a monster vote of confidence from the GM. And then we're just chatting with Cami about the World Juniors after, offensive struggles from Team Canada. They get a really good squad in the Americans tonight. If you want to wash away the pain of the Latvia loss, tonight's your chance. So take that where you want.
Okay, so a couple of things here. So I think, we're all eyeballs on this one. This is the annual grade, though, the one that everybody looks forward to. I still maintained, even though it was a Canada loss, the best U.S.-Canada New Year's Eve game I think we've all seen is Orchard Park 2017, where USA wore those great football jerseys. It looks so cool. But here comes another installment. And I think both fan bases are, and rightfully so, nervous. Like, when's the last time we saw Canada and the USA going into this game and both teams had as many question marks as these two teams do? And essentially it breaks down to this. Canada can't score, USA can't defend, and Trey Augustine all of a sudden can't catch a puck anymore. Which fan base is more anxious? Like, which fan base is doing the Lady Macbeth, like rubbing their hands out damn spot, like up and down the hall? Like, which team slept last night? I would imagine neither. Because both these teams, like, through a few games here, like, all of their flaws have been exposed and been exposed quickly. And I'll go you one better. So Friday night, I'm at that Canada-Latvia game, and they score in the shootout, and it's like stunned silence. Like it's pin drop silence. And then the next day, USA faces off against Latvia. I mean, the Latvians are going on fumes. I mean, that emotional high, completely spent, have to rev it up again, and United States takes care of them. But the thing that I do wonder about that is, if Latvia had a day off, would it have been a closer game? And could Latvia have actually won, knowing now what we know about the United States and where you can expose them? Now, Latvia is not loaded with superstars. Latvia is not loaded with, elite level prospects or top 10 draft picks, but they do play as a team. They defend really well. They'll block every shot that comes their direction. And as we've seen with their goaltender, he can stop everything. If I do, and there's no answer to this one, but I just do wonder if there was a day in between, what would that USA-Latvia game have looked like? Because USA was picking apart a tired team. Make no mistake about it.
If it was something more like a playoff kind of format, because if you look at it in a bubble, Stanley Cup playoffs also kind of a long, short tournament, if that makes sense. Sometimes you just need to capture lightning in a bottle, and it looks like Latvia could be capable of doing that.
You know what? I love it too, Cami, because, and I've long maintained this, I love Latvian hockey fans. Canadian hockey fans are wonderful. American hockey fans, there is nothing like Latvian hockey fans. Yeah. You see the World Championships every year. You see the World Juniors. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not I don't want to insult them or sound patronizing, but I don't really think they care who wins or loses. They just go to these tournaments. And no, I'm serious though. But it's actually a compliment, because they just go to celebrate being at an event and cheering on their team, and whatever they do, it doesn't matter. There's not going to be, pages on pages written about, tearing kids down and tearing teams apart. It's like when you think of all the things we talk about celebrating hockey and the joy of the game, and you're always a kid when you play, like, the Latvian hockey fans demonstrate that on a consistent basis. Whenever I do like a speaking event, I always close with one little saying, trust me, hockey moms love this one. But I really mean, but the Latvians captured it. And the little story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who walked up to his mom and said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a hockey player." His mother smiled at her son, looked down and said, "Son, that's great, but you can't do both. You're always a kid when you play hockey. There's no such thing as growing up and being a hockey player." Latvian fans get that. It's hockey. It's a game. Let's be happy. I mean, are there expectations? Sure. But when you look at like sense of priority and having, everything in its right place, it's the Latvians. That's why at the end of that game, I was really happy to see, as a lot of Canadian hockey fans exited the Canadian Tire Center, there were a lot of Canadian hockey fans that made their way down around, like all the way around the glass. And after the Latvians did the big celebration and they went over to the corner where a lot of the Latvian parents were and did the, stick taps and banging on the glass, all along the glass were Canadian hockey fans applauding because they understood the moment. They understood what that meant for that team and how that team pushed their team and how that made their team better. Whether it was a loss or not, I was really happy to see that many Canadian jerseys applauding the Latvians. Like a sense of hope and optimism heading into 2025, guys. That's what I took away from it on Friday night.
Yeah, look, I was there. I think it was 2005. They hosted the Worlds, and I happened to be traveling the country that year.
Yeah.
Like they love hockey. There's a lot of countries in Europe where they love hockey, but it's like, there's soccer too. I'd put Sweden and Czech Republic in that category, and Russia loves hockey, but there's lots of other sports that are big. Yeah. It is number one with a bullet in Latvia. I don't know that there's a country per capita that cares more about hockey than Latvia, but they also understand where they are in the hierarchy. Sometimes they're in the qualification pool. Sometimes they're in the A pool. Yeah. They know they're not one of the great 6 nations or 5 or whatever we're counting with Russia out. I mean, they're trying to become one. So when they're not
intimidated. Can I just add one thing? They're not intimidated by it.
No, but they're not, again, to your point, if they lose, it's not like the tournament's a failure. They understand they're underdogs most of these games, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And not to say, everything is a bonus for them, but it kind of, in a way, it is right now. Like, there isn't the weight of expectation. I mean, geez, think of all these Canadian kids and trying, good luck going to bed every night. And the same thing for the Americans as well. Like, the Canadians skate with a burden, and that is the burden of gold or bust. Man, that's a lot to put on anybody, let alone a bunch of 19-year-old kids. The Latvians, they don't skate with that, and I think there's a real lesson there. Like I know that we've sort of blown this tournament up and made it a big deal and wrapped it in a Canadian flag and poured maple syrup all over it. And this is part of who we are as people somehow. I never understood that, but Latvians have a good sense of this is a development tournament. The kids are having fun. The kids are getting better. They're playing games against people we're going to watch in the NHL, and I don't know if we're ever going to see Eric Smateko again. I think he'll probably play some in the NHL, but that might be his greatest moment ever in hockey, and I think they all understand that.
So many of these kids are never going to see an NHL game. That's why it's so important to them. Like, someone get down to the Saddle Dome and ask Teddy Bluegers what he thinks of all this.
Oh, yeah.
Pride of Riga right there.
So, you know what? It's interesting too that you mentioned, like, this might be the last hurrah of big-time hockey for a lot of these players. I have a theory, okay? So my theory is this is the last time where there's a little bit of innocence still, that it's not all the business. You turn pro and it's the business of hockey, the business of hockey, the business of hockey, the drama, the pressure, the stress, the expectation, all of it. For these kids, and playing in, listen, you guys know the Western Hockey League well, playing in the Western Hockey League, for these kids, like, there's still an innocence about it, and hockey's, for lack of a better way to put it, guys, hockey's still fun, but there's a part of it that's still fun. And this is why I still maintain that this is why NHLers who are financially successful, a lot of them want to go back and buy junior teams, because it reminds them of when hockey was just fun. Where you went to school, you went to the rink, and you just played. And that was it. There was no, I got to call my agent every day, and I can't sleep, and I have anxiety, and the coach won't talk to me, and I'm off the power play. There's none of that. It's just still fun. And I think the World Juniors, for a lot of these kids, Cami, to your point, this is maybe the biggest stage they'll ever play on. And for a lot of these kids, this is the last time where there's an element, and I know it's still business too, there's an element where it's still just hockey fun. Does that make sense? Or am I reaching for something that's not there?
I think for some of the teams, for Canada, I don't know about that, because I honestly feel like if you make your NHL debut and you kind of mess it up, you make a really bad turnover that maybe leads to a really good scoring chance or a goal, people are going to give you some grace on that. Canada loses, like they had to make a commercial a few years ago about cyberbullying because people online are trying to eviscerate these kids. And I'm like, frankly, take swipes at the multimillionaires and the pros all you want. These are children.
And let me add another layer to that. I was having this conversation with Pierre McGuire yesterday on the show, and you think of how many players this tournament has made, and I mean how much of a bigger star was Jordan Eberle after the last Ottawa tournament in 2009, back when he was playing with the Regina Pats. But you look at how many players this tournament in some ways has ruined, and I think of Mark Byzantine in 2010, Canada versus Russia. Going into the third period, up, was it 2 goals or 3 goals in the Buffalo tournament? And all of a sudden, Tarasenko turns it on, Panarin turns it on. And what happened to Mark Byzantine? First round draft pick, Phoenix Coyotes, the next great goaltender for Canada, was poised to be a great prospect in the NHL. Played 1 game. Think of what this tournament did to Maxime Comtois when Canada flamed out again. Like there is a list here of players that have been at least a little bit psychologically damaged if they don't
want to. Not making the team.
From getting cut as well. That's why, and I'll tell you what, like there are players, I know that I don't think he'd mind if I mention this. I know that Tyler Seguin will call players who get cut. Because he got cut. He got cut. He went on to make like $100 million in the NHL. He, second overall draft picks. They're still making large money. Rehabbing his knee right now. Made a lot of money. Won a Stanley Cup. Like he's done a lot of things internationally. He's done a lot of things. But he was cut from the World Juniors. It might have been Dave Cameron actually. Now that I mention it, but he's been known to call players that get cut. Say, hey, look, like this isn't the end of the road. Yeah. I've won Stanley Cup. I've done all these things. I've made tons of money. I've cemented my reputation, started my life and family and all of that. Don't think that this is the end for you. I don't think that Tyler Seguin is the only one who does that, but I know that Seguin will for sure. I mean, that's the kind of person that he is to begin with, because I think he can relate to that. Like he was a super high-end guy that got cut from the World Juniors once upon a time. Not the end of the road.
If I can jump in there, you asked, who's more pressure on, the Americans, the Canadians? It's always the Canadians in my mind. Until this tournament matters a fraction of what it means in Canada and the States, it won't be anyone but Canada that plays with more pressure. And then you talk about, okay, Cami's noted they're struggling to score. Fact. Yep. Now you're talking about high skill guys being left out of the tournament. Okay. I mean, you don't have to tell Calgary Flames fans when Zane Perrick's not there and you watch a power play that doesn't operate well. And it's like, oh, well, there's the other end of the rink too. It's like, oh, that end of the rink that he won a Memorial Cup in and led the OHL in scoring with 96 points. Like, where are you at on the roster build? Are we full Rob Zamner here? Is this a very logical build? Because you do have to be a prospect nerd / guru to be able to say too much of this, not enough of that. Or no, this is a normal team that's just going through a scoring issue right now.
Before I answer your question, can I ask you guys something? Are you like me? Do you feel bad for Rob Zamner? He's always held up as the, are we Rob Zamner?
Yes.
The guy.
He could have been the original John Scott if there was social media. He could have been the original John Scott.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Rob Zamner got to go to the Olympics, Jeff.
Yes,
so
I know.
If Rob Zamner wants to trade that for being the poster boy of shouldn't go to the Olympics, that's up to him.
So this is a really good question, Brian. So somewhere along, Canada wins gold in Salt Lake, double gold in Salt Lake. On the men's side in Italy, it's a flame out, right? And this is again back to Rob Zamner construction. Sorry, Rob Zamner, wherever you are, again, we're holding you up as an example. And so Hockey Canada philosophically changes how they construct teams. It was less, this is what the first line does, this is what the second line does, this is what the third line does, first pair, second pair, third pair, etc. And it became one philosophy. There was one thing that Canada did. Like when they made their teams, they asked themselves, they said one thing to themselves, and that is skill adapts. 2 words, skill adapts. And the philosophy changed from build an NHL style team to compete to pick the best players. And the best players have the skill to adapt. You're a first line player on your NHL team, that's fine. You're a skilled player, you can do what a fourth liner does in certain situations, right? I think everybody understands that. And it had been a bonanza for Canada ever since. Somehow, for this team, that changed. Like, there are a lot of really good players, bottom end players on this team that are great with their junior squads. But when you're leaving off, like to your point, Zane Parekh, and you're leaving off, Michael Misa is another sort of flashpoint, Beckett Seneca as well, Carter Yakimchuk. There's a lot of sort of question marks here where you say, well, hold on a second. If the motto is skill adapts, these guys have tons more skill than the players that were like. I'm very curious whether this was a deliberate break from the skill adapts recent tradition of Hockey Canada, whether it's a one-off or this is a new way to decide how we're constructing teams in Canada.
Well, and I had talked to some people that are familiar with Hockey Canada that work in NHL circles, and they said this isn't new for the last few World Juniors. It's just that, last year was disappointing. They didn't score enough, and you could have made the case they didn't bring their most skilled guys. They tried to build a team. And prior to that, you were just riding Bedard tournaments, and he was sensational.
Yeah.
So this isn't...
And Fantilli too.
Sure, but point being that you had superstars that were going to get you over, and maybe McKenna can be that in this tournament, but gosh, that's a lot to ask for a guy that's not draft eligible for another year and a half.
Yeah, he's going about 12 minutes of ice time right now, other than he really had his ice time cranked up against Latvia, but other than that, he's been around the 11 to 13 minute mark.
And so how did we get...
Love seeing him with Berkeley Catton, though. They've been fun to watch.
So how do we get from take your best, skill adapts? Like, you can bring Brad Marchand, he can play fourth line minutes. We know he can. Like, because I love that philosophy. And you watched it torpedo their chances in '98, and in 2006, they probably went a little too veteran heavy, which might have tied into that build a roster rather than take the best.
Yeah.
How did we get here? Like, didn't we learn? Like, is it philosophical change at Hockey Canada? We've seen a lot of change there all of a sudden in the last 3-4 years.
I wonder if this is always sort of the default setting for Canadians, though. Don't just construct skilled roster. Oh, that's what the Europeans do. Oh, it's all skill, but here it's hard work and heaviness. And I mean, I'm reaching for this because I don't know. I'm just trying to cobble together some type of talk radio answer here for you. I really don't know. Like I'm legitimately baffled. And one other thing that baffles me as well is the idea of, and we see this with Canada on the men's side. We'll see it at the Four Nations too. I like the idea of putting successful pairs together. Easier on the blue line, and we see Taves and McCarr going to play together at the Four Nations for Canada. But you have on this Brampton Steelheads team, Porter Martone and Carson Raykop playing together, and they score like 1 billion goals together so far this season. Yet the only way Raykop can get in is if Porter Martone gets pulled out. When you're starved for goals, would you not, as your default, look at this and say, these guys seem to have something. Our guys seem to have nothing. Let's maybe put these two together for one of these games. Oh, I don't know, maybe like the Germany game, and see what happens here. I don't know. Like the other part of me too, because listen, politics will always play a part of it. And that's why I applaud Pat Quinn for 2002, because he alienated himself from his goaltender. He really, really did by trying to get Canada gold. I'm curious where you two are at on this one. The idea of CHL coaches that are coaching CHL teams, coaching Team Canada when they have players on that team. I'm not saying that Dave Cameron is overly biased towards Luca Pinelli and having him out there in as many situations as he is. I'm not saying that it doesn't even belong on the team. But from a perception point of view, you can look at that and say, is that not a conflict? Is that because we've seen it before where coaches will coach just so they don't lose the room when they go back to the Western League, the Ontario League, and the Quebec League? I'm not saying that we're there with Pinelli and Dave Cameron, but up and down Popcorn Row, I can assure you in Ottawa, that is part of the conversation.
Big one tonight. That's.
I can't wait.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I noticed that, Cami.
No thanks.
Cami from the Western Hockey League, got any thoughts on that one there?
Yeah, exactly. But no, again, and this is
The
what's
only
beautiful
one I've
about this
seen up
tournament.
close is Chris Millette, and everyone got plenty of playing time at the CHL USA Prospect Challenge. Thank you.
Very
That
good.
was listen. Everyone was really thrilled for him, and especially at the announcement as well. Was it on day 2 of that one? So go Kelowna. Very much looking forward to visiting one of my favorite places in the country.
That'll be
I
good.
think
That's a
no
great
matter what
junior city.
happens, no matter who wins, they need to have a pontoon boat at the ready to take the winning team. Like, don't even take your skates off. Just slap the guards on, get out of that rink, get down to the lake, and take the Mem Cup for a little spin. End up at Earl's. As everyone has in Kelowna at the
Been
dock
done.
there.
I do like that, or if it was in Red Deer, just hit up Sylvan Lake and then end up at what's the name of the place that Colby Armstrong took us? Chiefs at Sylvan Lake. That's where all the Red Deer Rebels players used to go.
And then you could go to Peter's and make them make a milkshake in it. Perfect.
Canucks. Where are you at on Vancouver? Because that's the Flame seat tonight. A lot of people watching will be heading to the game tonight, tuning in before their New Year's festivities tonight. My view of it is, look, for everything that's gone wrong, there they are still in a playoff spot. And when everyone gets healthy and theoretically could get on the same page, look out. But the longer we keep talking about all that happening means the further you've gone without it happening yet. And now all of a sudden you're looking at some serious injuries. Like this either to me is galvanizing moment and we could do something crazy in the playoffs. And last year they almost beat the Oilers. They did it without their number one goalie. They didn't have Besser for game 7. They had a really good postseason in portions last year. But also this might just one of those lost years, maybe.
We know what this does. This cements that Quinn Hughes should be in the conversation for the Hart Trophy. This is a profoundly different looking team without Quinn Hughes in the lineup. It is night and day. We can talk about the Pettersson, JT Miller soap opera, and that's fine. And Besser scoring in the injury to Demko and like all the adversity that Vancouver's faced this season. You always look at, okay, who's the one player or what's the one situation that is going to be next to impossible to overcome? And it's become really, really obvious that this is a much different team without Quinn Hughes back there.
Yeah.
Now and then you can have a decent game without him, but like long haul, I don't want to say that they're doomed without Quinn Hughes. Sure feels like that watching him play though. Like no one can move the puck.
But
no one can do what he does.
Why do we feel like this is so different from when McDavid goes down with an injury in Edmonton and you just see it totally galvanize Leon Draisaitl and he plays the best hockey you've seen from him all season? Why have we not seen that us against the world mentality with Vancouver where someone else is able to
They don't have a Draisaitl.
They don't have a Draisaitl. They don't have anyone on the blue line that can come anywhere close to doing what Quinn Hughes does. We would, Cami, to your point, we'd see this in Pittsburgh all the time, right? Crosby would be out with his injury, and all of a sudden Malkin. We saw this with Yzerman and Fedorov in Detroit for a lot of years too. So I know the point that you're getting at. Though the only issue is they just don't have anybody else,
especially on the blue line, right?
And they have no one else.
Yeah, I know Hronik's still not coming back till February or so.
No, he's still hurt. They're still looking for defensemen, and they've got no one that can move the puck back there. And that's where it all starts for every team. Which is why Rutherford and Alvin are beating the bushes trying to find someone else that can shuttle the puck out of their own zone, either skate the puck out of their own zone, pass the puck out of their own zone. And defensively he's like everything that you always appreciate something when it's gone. And Vancouver Canucks fans, I think the rest of the NHL will look at this casually and say this is a profoundly different team. And Canucks fans will tell you that's the one guy. That's the one guy that Vancouver can't afford to lose, and that's where. When Hronik first got injured, and I talked to Sakaris and Price, and I'd be like, "What's Quinn Hughes going to look like by the end of the season? Like he's playing 30, 32 minutes a night. It's not as if he's 6'5", 225 pounds. Like he's a slight guy, and they're just burning. Like what's he going to have left by the end? And now that he's hurt." I don't want to say it's a complete disaster. There's still NHLers obviously on that team, but man, that hill just got steeper with Quinn Hughes out, and for as long as he may be out here, you just cross your fingers for the player and the team that he gets back to health sooner than later, so you can start playing him 32 minutes a night and then burn him out for the playoffs. Different team without Quinn Hughes, completely different team.
And then you're also losing Pettersson to injury, but then Patrick Alvin comes out and says, trade's not off the table. What does that do to the temperature around the situation other than whipping everything into a fine meringue of drama?
I think everybody knows what the score is there. I think everybody knows that a lot of things are on the table. And I think that when Jim Rutherford's your general manager, I think you understand that, or he's technically not the general manager, but we all know how that relationship works. When Jim Rutherford's there making the phone calls, you know that anything could happen at any time. And that he likes to make his moves well in advance of trade deadline. That's how he won a Stanley Cup in 2006 with the Hurricanes. And I don't think that's law. I don't think that would surprise anybody. Like, put it this way. I don't think it's along the same lines as Chris Drury putting Chris Kreider's name on that memo, circulated to 31 teams, which completely lobbed a grenade into that room, coupled with the Trouba situation and the Barclay Goodrow situation with San Jose and waivers back and forth. I think this one is different. I think that when Rutherford is running your team, I think everybody knows, because names have all been out there before. I mean, do you guys remember when Rutherford first took over? What's the first thing he said? We need cap space. And all of a sudden we're hearing like, oh, JT Miller's going to Pittsburgh and Kapanen and who was it? Pedersen are coming back the other way. Like Besser's going to go to Los Angeles and Adrian Kempe is coming back. It's wild rumors, like all over, right? But that's what happens because Jim Rutherford is not shy about the big deal. And if you're a struggling Vancouver Canucks team, you have to know that everything is on the table. I don't think that's a secret to anybody in that room. Unlike when Drury says, "Oh yeah, we get rid of Kreider. Oh, but yeah, you're struggling on the power play. We got a Kreider here for you." That one stunned the room. They were supposed to give him a jolt. Cami, to your point, like here's your jolt. Here's the here's the shot in the arm. Let's get going here, boys. The opposite happened with New York, but I think it's sort of baked into the pie with the Canucks under Rutherford.
Any other hotspots out there, or trade rumors, positions of interest?
Dallas is going all in, and don't be surprised if it's Jim Rutherford and Craig Conroy talking again. I would not be surprised whatsoever. The Dallas Stars, Jim Nill going on. This is all in season. Like, put it this way, for the Dallas Stars, the feeling is this is the season. Because the vets are aging out and the kids aren't quite ready yet to take over. So this is the season they're going for it. This is the one. They're gonna try to do this without letting go of Logan Stankoven. Liam Bichelle looks fantastic on that back end. Maverick Bourque, he's pretty already done everything that he needs to do at the American Hockey League level. So they're gonna try to do all this without sacrificing one or two of those high-end prospects, but that's gonna be really tough. But I would expect that the Dallas Stars, by the time the trade deadline is done, they may end up being the team that has the most prizes at the end of all of it. And don't forget too, with Tyler Seguin's situation and that money available, becomes that much more easy for Jim Nill to pull the trigger. So if I'm looking at one team to add, it's the Dallas Stars. But I think we're all looking at the New York Rangers now and saying, what's next? Like, they played really well last night. I gotta give it to them. I watched the game because I'm waiting for like the disaster, and Florida goes up 2 Cobb, and you're like, oh geez, here we go. But by the end of the game, you're saying, you know what, Bobrovsky's really keeping Florida in this one. The Rangers aren't quitting, and like they fought back. And I know it sounds condescending. It's like, oh, good try, guys, but it was a good try. Like, they played better. Now, and mind you, playing the defending Stanley Cup champions, they played better, but it still wasn't enough. Yeah. And Zibanejad is getting killed for that first goal on the blind pass in the defensive zone, right to the points. Like, it was just bad. Like, Mika Zibanejad is trending in Canada. Okay, like Mika Zibanejad is trending on Twitter X in Canada. So, so you know it's not good. So I think we're all wondering, okay, what happens here? Is it the coach? Is it some of the players? Do they just ride this thing out all season long? We know this is not a very patient owner, which is the wild card in all of it. As much as we talk about Jim Rutherford can wake up every day and do something not insane, but do something huge. James Dolan can not just do something huge, but also can do something insane as well. So I think we're wondering about the Rangers, but the Rangers the other way as opposed to the Dallas Stars who'd be looking to add.
Their schedule's a nightmare. And where's the playoff probability meter for you? Are they like worse than a coin toss to get in right now? Because they're not that far out, but it's just a nightmare run they've got schedule wise, and clearly people don't like going to work. We saw it with the Daryl Sutter year that after the mass exodus where Gaudreau and Kachukov. Like that was a group that didn't like being together, and that's kind of what the Rangers are starting to look like.
And they're 7 points back of Ottawa for the second wild card right now.
Okay, you want some context for this?
Let's go.
Let's let the gravity of this sink in. Let me grab my skid here right in front of me. Today, the Buffalo Sabres played the Dallas Stars. It's a tough game for the Buffalo Sabres. Tough game for the Swords, although they've won 3 games in a row. If Buffalo wins tonight, they jump over the New York Rangers.
They just lost 13 in a row.
After everything we've said about the Buffalo Sabres this season,
oh my God,
they win tonight, they jump over the New York Rangers. Just allow the gravity of that to sink in insane for all your listeners and viewers for 1 second.
How do the Sabres also already have a better goal differential than the Rangers right now?
It just keeps adding up, Cami. Keep going. Don't stop now. Don't put any speed bumps in front of Cami. She can just keep going. I know. It's like it's again.
It's a trifle of crap.
Over and over and over and over and over. It's just like you just start at a certain point. Like we started feeling sorry for the Buffalo Sabres. I think legitimately because it's been 13 seasons of futility there, 14 seasons of futility. I don't know that anyone feels sorry for New York because it's New York. Just like no one's going to feel sorry for Toronto because it's Toronto. But are we getting to the point where we're starting to feel bad about the Rangers? Or have they kind of brought this on themselves?
Nope, this is Crazy James Dolan. Him and his shitty cover band. This is what you deserve. We're making our ears bleed, you asshat. Okay, that's my tangent. Jeff, tell us what's coming up on the sheet today. Let's get you out of here before you get canceled for my comments.
Oh, no problem. Listen, I was putting Cami in a hot spot a couple of seconds ago talking about CHL coaches, but I digress. So sheet today. So we're going to open up with Cam Robinson's going to stop by. We'll preview tonight's matchup from Elite Prospects. You guys know him. Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. We'll do sort of New Year's predictions, what we see happening along the way here in the next few months. And who are we kicking the show off with today? Today we're kicking the show.
It's going to be embarrassing now.
I know.
Oh, Wayne Gretzky. Whoops. How did I?
No. Who are we kicking the show off with today? Hang on. Give me 2 seconds. Let me get. Where's my producer note? Johnny Lazarus. On the Winter Classic. So Laz is up for Morning Cup of Hockey. Yeah, there we go. And Bill me on that one. So 3 guests today. So Laz is coming up, Wish is coming up, and Cam Robinson's coming up.
Just great to see Chicago finally get an outdoor game. Good stuff.
Oh,
okay, thanks, Jeff.
Warms. I mean, how many is it now for Chicago? It's kind of embarrassing. Although James Van Riemsdyk been in the most. I think he's been in 8. Yeah, Van Riemsdyk's been in 8 of these things.
Wild.
Okay.
He's played on more NHL outdoor games than a lot of kids actually play outdoors now.
Yes, these days, yeah. He's probably played more outdoor games than he's worn 3rd jerseys, so it should be saying something today.
Very true.
Have fun on the show today.
Thank you. I'll try
Appreciate
to remember who's
you coming
on the show.
in.
Yeah, no problem.
And we'll be watching. And if we don't see you until next year, have a great night.
You guys as well. And I will be sure to be. What are you fake catfishing? Pretending to be me on the chat, Cami.
Verified.
How would you frame that? Okay, all right, very good. Ryan, Cami, thanks so much for having me on. To your listeners and viewers, all the best, the health and happiness in 2025. You guys be well.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate
so lovely.
it.
Thank you.
It's Jeff Marek of The Sheet. 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 Mountain. Did I get that right? I think that's right.
-2.
Yeah, the old change there. And again, all of our insiders come to you on the Crystal Waters Insider Hotline. It's important to ensure your home is safe and ready this winter. Let Crystal Waters inspect your plumbing, heating to make sure your home is ready for these cold months ahead. There's been some cold, but you know it's coming, Cami. July, it is not. January, it will be soon. There's going to be some nasty -30 days coming up. Also, Crystal Waters here for you, Barn Burner customers. Need something new? Up to $1,000 off in value, discounts on air conditioner or furnace. Let's go. Crystal Waters has a solution for all budgets, also financing, affordable payment plans. Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating is your crystal clear choice for home comfort. Call them at 403-219-4100 or check them out at crystalclearcalgary.com.
Nothing but 100% pure love for them. You guys don't work in nearly enough Crystal Waters references whenever you do those reads.
Pure, 100% pure love.
Crystal Waters is a world-renowned dance pop artist. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I got you. Took a while, but I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your setup tonight? You got multiple screens. You got what's our puck drop differential between Canada and we got 2 hours, an hour?
Yeah, we got 2 hours, I think.
Okay, so that's good. That's optimal.
Yeah, no, I'll be rolling into the studio here because we learned after the, oh gosh, what was it? The Sens game that the Wi-Fi at my place is not good enough. So I'll be walking down the street here in Marta Loop with my laptop and my monitor, and I'll be posting up here, maybe with a nice little cup of something.
We will
celebration. I'm bringing in the new year with Yasmin.
Good, amazing. And we will have obviously some Bet365 wagers to get to later. We'll do that. I've got a Pinder report for you. Do want to mention the hearing loss clinic. I have a very interesting relationship with hearing loss. I watched my father lose his hearing in his 30s, which was incredibly difficult and life-altering for him. He has since had a cochlear implant. Hearing has returned, and it's like a new human again. But if you have any questions about what's going on with your hearing, or you just want maybe a little peace of mind to know that everything's all right, the Hearing Loss Clinic, locally owned, operated, here to help. And it's not just about hearing loss or impairment. It's about empowering everyone to be socially active, more connected with loved ones, and confident in every aspect of their life. People of all ages can suffer from hearing loss, especially difficult and challenging for kids. Studies have shown that untreated hearing loss can lead to other health issues like dementia, depression. So, hey, go get your ears checked. Why not? Also, services that the Hearing Loss Clinic provides: custom ear protection, musician molds, custom in-ear stage monitors. And there's 5 locations in Calgary, including their brand new Chinook location on the corner of Glenmore and McLeod. 5 locations in BC as well: Cranbrook, Creston, Fernie, Golden, and right by me in Invermere. Helping you hear better is simply their way of helping you live better. Book an assessment today at hearingloss.ca. Have you ever had your ears tested?
I actually need to. When I played in a band, an amp blew up in my ear. So now, ever since then, if I talk too loud or if I'm somewhere loud, it sounds like parchment paper crinkling in my left ear. So I usually stand on the left side of people to hide my bad ear from them. So I actually probably really should go.
Cami, go. They can help you. Figure out what's going on there. Parchment paper. Come on, Cami.
It was bad. I had my bass muted and I was sitting up at my amp tuning things or just like setting my levels, and our drummer was just noodling around on my bass, and he played a lot of funk bass, so he unmuted it in a concert setting at sound check, unmuted it, hit a chord, and it felt like I got kicked in the face. Like I remember falling back. The sound hit me so hard.
That's not good, Cami.
It was not great.
Go see our friends, okay? Go see Rhodesy. Yeah. Let's get a Pinder report in. I've got some sports and some goofy shit for you, Cami, as we do. As always, we do it for our great friends at Village Honda. My goodness, until the end of the month. That's like the end of the day. Village is having their end-of-year pre-owned clear-out. Over 70 units in stock, starting at less than $12,000 and up to $2,000 in trade bonus. All makes, models, and budgets. They've also got new in-stock inventory on the ground. Start your automotive adventures at Village Honda, where new vehicle pricing is MSRP. It's Village Honda in the Northwest Auto Mall and online at villagehonda.com. Okay, Jack, let's get to the Pinder report. It is a game day for the Calgary Flames as they will welcome the Vancouver Canucks. There's been some crazy ones. The second meeting, less eventful. Flames second half of a back-to-back. They were out of gas, fell to the Canucks. The first one, the Canucks up big early. Flames erased a couple monster deficits, and it was the Anthony Mantha natural Gordie Howe hat trick, or just the Gordie Howe hat trick. It was pretty impressive. He's long since been lost for the season, as has Justin Kirkland, but there's Matt Coronado, who has been a benefactor of a little more ice time in the top 9. That will be... I've had fun watching the kids. I enjoy watching Zeri, Coronado, and even Pelche right now in terms of these. Are you a future piece? Are you a key component or not? Are you just a guy that won't be here down the road? And I think Flames fans have enjoyed watching some of those younger players.
It's actually Zeri and Pospisil's 100th NHL games tonight.
Wow, both of them.
Both of them.
That's incredible.
Zeri's got 54 points. Pospisil has 35, but he's looked awesome on that top line with Kadri and Huberdeau.
Top line's been great. And
Yep.
you know what? I know the first year that they were both here after the Tkachuk swap and the Gaudreau departure and the Kadri free agent signing, Daryl put these guys together and it didn't look good. But a lot's changed since then. And Pospisil's speed and physicality has really helped that duo, as Kadri's been pretty good, and Huberdeau's having a career year in terms of scoring goals. He's never going to get that 115-point season again. That was clearly the outlier, but this is absolutely trending to be his best goal-scoring season of his career, which is a great sign. It looked like this was a lost man at sea not that long ago. Last December, a single point. This December, totally different story. Second line's got Backlund, Coronado, and Coleman. I love that spot for Matt Coronado. You're starting to see him perform on both sides of the puck. We love the shot. And it is the Backlund bump in full effect. You put someone on that line with him and Coleman, great place to learn. Wouldn't mind Jacob Pelche getting some time there at some point in the near future, but keep Coronado there for now. Why not? The next line's interesting.
Break up Coleman and Backlund. Just don't break them up.
Yeah, and so Connor Zary gets the island of misfit toys. Igor Sharangovich is struggling mightily, and Andrei Kuzmenko, well, he's in the lineup, which is saying something. He's been out a lot and finished the third period playing a bit with Zary and Sharangovich. Pelche got bumped down for that swap. What are you thinking about Connor Zary's wingers at this point, Cami, in terms of the seasons they're putting forth?
I actually think I'm more concerned about Sharangovich than I am about Kuzmenko.
Kuzmenko goes away really quick here. Like, he's a free agent.
Away really quickly, not that expensive. Sharangovich's extension has not kicked in yet. Hasn't even kicked in yet. He's got 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points minus 11. Like, that's a disaster. When you break it down, disaster December so far. You know, maybe he goes out and gets a hat trick tonight. Would love that for him. But right now he's got 1 goal versus Columbus that was back on December 3rd and 1 assist against Chicago. So 2 points in 11 games.
Not good enough.
You look at Kuzmenko. Kevin Ball has the same number of goals and more points than Kuzmenko right now.
That's not great company for Sharangovich or Kuzmenko. Ball's the defensive defenseman we like for his defense, not for his offense. Yeah, Sharangovich is interesting. We talked about the shot volume. He needs to shoot the puck. He's a great shooter. If he's not doing that, going to be tough for him. He's never been a great defensive player. And, you know, to your point, that extension seemed like a absolute no-brainer when he's coming off a 31-goal season.
Or he leads
and you're wondering, where is that? Where's that 31-goal guy? Because he's not moving with confidence offensively. Shoot the puck, son. Get it off your stick. Let's go.
Because they're not guys that you typically hear from a lot. I know Kuzmenko spoke to the media on the off day, and he actually had a very positive attitude. Don't know how much of that is, you know, trying to just be up for the cameras and all these guys firing questions at you. But, you know, there's still a lightness there. So you don't maybe get the feeling that there's a cloud around him, which is good, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, we want to see results, whether it's grumpiness, anger, happiness, positivity. We don't care how he gets there. If you're a fan of the Calgary Flames, you just want to see this guy performing. If you're worried about asset management, if you can get this guy on a heater, you can trade him for assets. The way he's playing right now, he's not in the lineup. You're getting nothing for this guy. So whatever it takes for Kuzmenko to be Kuzmenko, go get it. And if that's the goofy, you know, easy-go-lucky.
But on the ice, he does have a point against Vancouver, his former team this season. So if there's a night to make your statement, you said earlier, Vancouver on paper is easy pickings right now. You've got to take advantage of that. You can jump them in the standings. You have a huge week coming up here where you got the team ahead of you. You have the team right on your heels when you have Utah coming here for the first time later this week. And plus, when you look at some fairly high scoring games combined in your 2 meetings against Vancouver this season, so many of the people who had points in those games are gone. You mentioned Mantha, Kirkland, gone. Sprong, gone. Pedersen, Hughes, they had a goal and 2 assists in the 3-1 win. And they had 3 assists in the 6-5 Calgary OT win. This is your chance. And unfortunately, you see when Calgary has these chances, there's a tendency to do the opposite. They'll do well on the tougher stretches and then let these opportunities slide by, but they really can't do that this time around.
Let's look at those standings that you reference. The Flames can legitimately leapfrog Vancouver, which is I suppose crazy or not crazy, depending on how you want to frame it. I mean, Vancouver's been dealing with a lot. No Demko, no Pettersson, no Quinn Hughes, all at different times, of course. No JT Miller, personal absence for a while. Hronik, who's been a really, really nice partner for Quinn Hughes, has been missing a ton this year. But there it is. You could be a point ahead of the Vancouver Canucks with them holding a game in hand with a regulation victory tonight. And for the Canucks, this is not what you want to see at the beginning of these injury windows for Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. You'd love to have a cushion to rely on here. They don't at this point. Utah's coming as well. St. Louis feels pretty mid to me. I look and I think those 8 teams are the best 8 in the West. Unless Nashville wants to finally figure it out and put together a miracle run, I just don't know that I look below that cutoff and say those teams are better than the ones above. Certainly short-term Vancouver could struggle, but
unfortunately, St. Louis has given hope to everybody, the talking point forever when they went first.
Yeah, totally. It's true. Schedule looks as such. The Flames at home for a bit now, 3 in a row. They got the New Year's Eve game tonight against Vancouver. Then it is the Utah Hockey Club wheeling through on Thursday and a Saturday night. Jonathan Marchessault and the Preds shut out last night, but he had scored 6 goals in his last 5 prior to that. Winnipeg, good. Winnipeg at home, good. They beat them last night. And then it's off to California, 2-game roadie. First meeting of the season against the Ducks. They'll also play the Kings back-to-back. They'll finish that roadie, come home and host the Kings. So a lot of Los Angeles Kings and St. Louis Blues and Winnipeg Jets in their future. Ducks as well. Each of those teams they'll face twice before the 1st of February.
And some of the tweets coming out of Flames morning skate. Looks like Hanley and Dewar coming back into the lineup. No Kuzmenko, no Miramanov.
Interesting. So Uyghur will slide to the right side. Hanley plays on the left of that pair. Miramanov out. And Kuzmenko out means Dewar in. And Pelche likely back to the third line where he started the last game with Zeri and Sharon Govich. Good pick up there, Cami. I imagine we've got a confirmed Wolf start at this point. It's going to be his.
I thought it was given.
Yeah, it's not even. I'm assuming as such. There's a distinct pattern the Flames have operated with. You win, it's not a back-to-back. Well, you're going back in. And Wolf certainly was quite strong against his boyhood team, the Sharks.
This will be his first start against Vancouver this year. So Vladar had the season opener, and then we talked about it earlier, the second half of the back-to-back. Go figure, 792 save percentage in the win, 906 in the loss for Vladar in the 2 meetings against the Canucks.
Cruel sport. Chicago outdoor game tonight. I don't know if you realize this. Wrigley Field will host the Blues and the Hawks. So what better way to get amped up for the outdoor classic than, hey, buddy, our hockey pal.
Well, hello, buddy. Nice camp spot, eh? A tent, the dogs, and some old school NHL.
Wrigley Field, Foley jumping in, just gave him the 9 of hearts, and thanks for coming. What a save by the goalie.
Thank you, Panger. Good boy. Let me show you around, buddy. This is Wrigley Field, built in 1914, and built to host this year's Discover NHL Winter Classic. And that's why we're here, thanks to our buddies at NHL on TNT. It's quiet now, but New Year's Eve, there'll be over 40,000 fans live in attendance. Holy what? Cheers, buddy, to the Winter Classic and to the greatest game on earth. There you go, buddy. Hockey.
Yeah, I love this guy. I don't know what it is.
I'm relaxed.
Yeah, that's zen, isn't it? And kudos on the NHL for embracing this kind of stuff. They used to run from it. They've actually got. We showed their tipping commercial that they made a month ago. That's quite good. There's some people that know what they're doing all of a sudden on the marketing side here for a league that often couldn't get out of its own way.
Yeah, there were some really good ones. If you go back to kind of at the beginning of the Sid versus Ovi era.
Yes.
I remember the
hotel room
Sedin
service.
Swedish Twins commercial sent me as a child. That sent me to the goddamn moon. I love that.
Yeah, there were some good ones. They're in a nice little area here, it looks like. And yeah, it's Chicago again, but it's also Wrigley. No, it's not a game we care about. It's the Blues and the Hawks. but it's Bedard. It's outdoors.
We can cheer on
we'll
Jake
flip it
Neighbors.
on.
We can cheer on Jake Neighbors. Oh, did you
Sure.
see? He also said that they're doing the ASL broadcast of it. And Jake Neighbors from Calgary/Airdrie did the announcement on socials in sign language.
Cool. So is he fluent, or did they teach him? You would know more.
He's
than I would.
no, he's actually pretty good at it. So he was really good friends with the Weisblatts growing up. Big WHL family. If you've been to a game, you've probably seen a Weisblatt play.
Yeah.
But he said the first time he went over to their house, so the Weisblatt parents are deaf. So Jake asked Ozzy, like, "Oh, how do I say thank you to your mom for supper?" And Ozzy told him something that was not thank you for supper. He would not tell me what it was. But after that, he's like, "You're never going to get me like that again." And on some of their long bus trips, they were trying to teach Jake sign language, and he's
Cool.
pretty decent at it. Kept up with it.
So we'll be looking for that. Maybe some sign language tonight. What else can we find on tonight's Winter Classic? This used to be a New Year's Day game. They've moved it to New Year's Eve this season for whatever reason. Maybe it's the expanded college football playoff. Who knows? But how about this? How about getting traded to St. Louis like weeks ago? This has never happened before. Cam Fowler will become the first player in NHL history to play his 1,000th game on the button in an outdoor game. That's pretty cool. If you're going to get traded to St. Louis, this is a good way to celebrate 1,000.
And that is a very nice jersey.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Those are some, no complaints. There's a big baseball rivalry, obviously. The Cards and Cubs, same division, NL Central. So this, I think it'll be a festive atmosphere, Cami. It really will. Other factoids, what do we got? There it is. 3 Mountain. Yeah, I like the jerseys. I've given the jerseys strong work.
I
B+,
always love
A-.
a stripe. Always love a stripe.
Very good. Okay. That's probably enough on that one. World Juniors tonight. We've got, a big one for Team Canada, Cami. We talked about it a bunch. The Americans and the Canadians both having questions asked about them. But
it's like puzzle pieces. They're puzzle pieces that match with the gaps in their game.
If they could build a Team North America, what you're saying is they'd win this tournament.
Oh, that would be awful. I would hate a Team North America at World Juniors.
It's a horrible idea. I'm teasing. There it is for you. Again, 6:00 Mountain, your start time. Canucks is 7, so you get the 1 hour gap, I believe.
Yeah, and you'll have a Canucks prospect in Sawyer Mineo plays with Seattle.
Yes.
He's going to get a little more time in the lineup. He's the guy who drew in with Matthew Schaefer, shut down for the rest of the tournament, which really sucks. He was doing well.
Awesome.
He was one of the 9 goal scorers for Canada. Caught up with his dad at Hlinka Gretzky in Edmonton over the summer. Fascinating to learn a bit more about him. He plays football.
Really?
Yeah, he was in Edmonton at Commonwealth Stadium over the summer for a flag football tournament. Well,
Cool.
Just one of those guys. And people talk about, World Juniors being like a 19-year-olds tournament for Canada.
Yeah.
Had so many young kids there this year until Schaefer got hurt. Well, that sucks. And you'll see Tanner Mollendijk and Sam Dickinson also taking on some additional duties on defense. But yeah, Canada's scoring efficiency 6.7%. So power play humming along at 15%. So
it's a
goals
Dave Cameron
will be
special.
key. Yeah.
We'll move tonight's slate. Lots in the NHL. Everyone's getting it in before the end of the year, Cami. Let's go. Big old slate here. Yep, that's a fair amount. What do we got? 6 and 7, 13 games there. Wow. A lot of teams in action. Ovechkin scored in back-to-back games since coming back from injury. We'll see if he can score tonight at home against the Bruins. It will be we used to have Max Pacioretty Bowl in Vegas tonight. It's Nick Suzuki will face the club that drafted him. Penguins Wings. Jack, where are we at on the Penguins? Need a Jack update on the Penguino.
Penguins have looked better of late. They split a home and home with the Islanders. They're kind of there in the Eastern Conference. Is this the Red Wings' first game since they fired their coach?
No, they got pumped their first. And I think they bounced back in the second. I think it's actually their third.
Okay, good.
But yeah, Todd McClellan is behind the bench there. He takes over for the guy, ironically, that looked like the Penguin character in the Batman movies. Dallas and Buffalo, it's a good, 1999 Stanley Cup final rematch. Our friend Rhett will be watching with great interest. Is, of course, if the Sabres win this, they'll avenge that Stanley Cup loss, right, Cami? This will erase
Does
all
Rhett
the...
look at anything other than a beer with great interest?
Not much, I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know about this game. Jets Avs, it'll be an interesting test for the Avalanche, as they've been much better of late. They're getting some better goaltending with the recently added Mackenzie Blackwood, but it's Connor Hellebuck, or is it going to be a backup night for them as Connor blanked the Preds last night? Flyers, Sharks, Utahs, Oilers as the Utahns make their pass through Alberta. Flames will see them on Thursday night. Islanders and Leafs in a Lamorello Bowl. The outdoor game we just mentioned. Canes and Blue Jackets, two teams you may have forgot are in this league. No, it's true, they are. Nashville and Minnesota.
Come on, Rod the Bod just became the fastest coach to 300 wins. Put some respect on him.
We love Rod the Bod, but if I trapped you on a desert island and asked you to name all 32 NHL teams, you might forget about Carolina. I'm sorry.
Actually, no, you cannot do that to me. Carolina has been my Eastern team for so long.
Okay, I take that back. Rescinded. Preds and Wild, one team we thought was going to be good is not, and the other one surprisingly quite good. Minnesota's been excellent this year, although I don't know if they'll have Kaprizov tonight. They're a little dinged up, but Gustafson's been awesome for them in net. Devils, Ducks, and Flames and Canucks. A couple other nightcaps there. Jack, obviously it's the Penguins in the winged wheel for you.
Yeah, there's lots going on today.
You got tell us about the bowl game. We got what is it? Penn State playing too?
Is that today? I thought that all the games were okay. No, I didn't even know that. That'll be on the TV as well.
Man, we need like 8 screens tonight. We need the Octobox. Where's Scott Hansen? Can we borrow the Octobox?
You get over to Richmond's with their 22 big screen TVs.
We're going to Richmond. Speaking of which, we'll be there on the 7th. That is the Ducks and Flames, an 8 p.m. start on wing night. Jack missed the first one. He made up for it on the second one. Housed a lot of wings and really a chance to get back into black ink, Jack, for our broadcast of Afterburner live at Richmond's on the 7th, wing night. Yes.
I don't know if I can go back after multiple people thinking I was dating Gould there.
That happened?
That was probably the low point of my year. Sorry, Mike.
We're going to move on and pretend that didn't happen. Go ahead, Jack.
There were apologies. Apologies were said.
Good. Okay, continue.
Okay, so this is awkward party. We've got Bemidji State and Minnesota Mankato, 2 Minnesota college hockey clubs. It's a tournament game, and our boy John Boy, who usually breaks down awkward MLB clips and is a great lip reader, he's walking us through what happened here. Apparently, goals under review.
Guy takes it up, wraps it around, puts it in. They win. They're dancing. The stick throw was elite. The stick goes in the air, 1 full rotation. It's going to probably do another. We don't see it. They're celebrating because they've won. They've won the game. They put their hats on. The championship hats are on their head. They announce the players of the game.
With the game-winning goal for the Mavericks, number 12, Josh Roll.
It's official. They do the laps with the trophy. They pass it around. They kiss it. They cry. Parents are excited. They take the team picture with the hats on next to the trophy.
We'll take a break, and we're going to keep it right here, I guess, Don. So we'll head to
confusion.
The highlights and a whole lot more as the Mavericks.
Real confused. What's going on? The place is empty.
They're saying the goal is still under review.
Oh, no. Let's watch. Is it a good goal? Is it a bad goal? It is not a goal. It went underneath the net. They say it's overturned, and we're going to run it back. And he takes the shot, and bam, now they have won it. It's real. The goalie has to be sad all over again. Damn it, again. The coach, he's got to do the speech a second time.
I think I already said this one, but Minnesota State wins 2-1 over the Beavers of Bemidji State. The Mavericks get it done in the end. Congratulations.
Yeah, you know what? Thanks.
This is from 2002. I don't know why it found me today, but I want how is that
you
the
know
greatest
what?
soccer party of all time?
They
Get the hats
won.
out?
At least they won when they got back, because in the PWHL final in their first season, the championship game went to overtime. Yeah. Minnesota thought they scored. It gets overturned, and they were celebrating, and then Boston scored him.
How did it take them that long to figure that out? That seemed like half an hour of time. They got the trophy out. They're doing the photos.
It was 2022, if I'm correct. That was head coach Mike Hastings, who I believe used to coach at UNO, Nebraska Omaha. And I don't know that they were quite as adept with the video technology in college hockey as perhaps they are now. That did take too long. Oh, do you guys have me?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry, you
good.
cut out for
Cami-
a second, Myers. Did I look stunned?
Let's move. Detroit Lions are good at football. They showed it again last night, Jack. They've done something, well, a few things no one else has ever done in NFL history. We'll start with this. As 40-plus points and 0 turnovers 5 times this year. Cami, that's good. When you score a lot, but you don't turn over the ball.
Sorry, man. I think I lost you again. Say
Jack,
something.
how we doing? How we doing, Jack?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
All right.
Cami's just drunk.
I really got to get to the hearing loss clinic, apparently.
Big time. Also, the Lions, 1,000 yards is good, Jack. 1,000 yards is really good. They had 4 different players get to 1,000 all-purpose yards, 2 receivers, 2 running backs. Obviously, Montgomery's hurt, but there's talk he could return. I don't know about this week, Jack, but they're saying he's not ruled out yet for the huge clash against the Vikings, which is winner takes all with the NFC top seed bye and, of course, the North Division.
That's going to be a great football game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Vikings, Lions. Who you got in that?
I don't know. I think we all kind of were quick to write off Detroit with all the injuries, but
yeah,
we also no one wants to believe in Sam Darnold. So I feel like it's. I'm very excited for it. I have not waded into the who am I going to pick category yet. Also, the Lions good on the road. Cami, you like winning on the road? Not
Huge.
easy to do in the NFL.
Tough.
Except for the Lions, 8-0 NC, perfect road record. I don't know that I can recall a team doing this, Jack, but I'm sure like what the Patriots and the 72 Dolphins would have because they had
I guess if they went undefeated, they would have. But yeah, that's impressive stuff. 8-0 on the road.
Now here's the thing.
Admit, I'm the loser that watches a lot of CFL, so this is like when you ask a child to pick who's going to win the Stanley Cup. Like, yeah, great.
This is the when the sales clerk who doesn't watch NCAA basketball wins the March Madness bracket because she picks the team names with the great colors or the city she's been to. Yeah, good. Love it. Fantasy football wrapped up last night for like 99.9% of leagues, meaning no one plays the last week of the season because regulars will be getting rested. Here's the most painful way ever to lose your fantasy football final. This from Matt Muncy on Twitter. I just lost my fantasy championship because Jared Goff kneeled to end the game, aka a loss of 1 yard. Crazy thing is our league's playoff matchups are 2 weeks long, and that's what it came down to. Excruciating thing is that I saw it coming as soon as Gibbs broke that touchdown. Only bright spot is I lost to my best friend since grade 1. Congrats, brother. Here's the proof from Matt Muncy, the scoreboard. An excruciating 2-week matchup, 276.72, 267.72 plus to 267.56. That is peak pain, Cami. I don't know if you've experienced fantasy football pain like that before.
Not like that. Not like that. I just got worked every time I've done.
That is.
I usually do pretty okay in fantasy hockey.
Like a kneel down.
I want to know what that's bad.
Victory formation. Oh, bad news bears. Okay, Jack, let's get to it. Dumb shit. Cami, buckle up. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you listening?
Awake, alert, alive, enthusiastic.
Good. Let's get the dumb shit-ometer cranked up to full. We start with Jack and his buddies. They had a lot of time on the holidays. They're Lugans. They love getting bombed, and they found an old tire. So what do? You come up with a game. Nice, Jack. Good dodge.
Really the most sinister form of Red Rover.
Oh. No. Was that your buddy with the mustache that took it there, Jack? Who was the... That's tough.
That's pretty fun.
Rhett's a big biker, Cami. I don't know if you know this. Loves the bike lanes, loves biking. He's a big cyclist, but he's figured out a new technique. There's this hill by his house. Check it out. It's pretty cool.
There has to be more to this. How? Well, if you did that in Calgary, someone would hit you out of sight.
Not if you're as nimble as Rhett, but yes. I don't know if you've seen Dean. He's got a New Year's resolution. He's got a little head start on. He's going to start running. Did you know? Dean's going to be a runner. Isn't that exciting?
One foot in front of the other.
No problem. Attaboy, Dino. Get a good stretch in. We got your back, buddy. Very good. Also,
goals.
I like soft serve ice cream. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm comfortable talking about it in a public space, Cami. And well, sometimes you just can't get enough.
Sound up, folks.
That was Jack and I on the night that he lost his jacket. Remember that, Jack?
That's honestly pretty impressive. Like he's just downing that ice cream.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. The brain freeze ain't going to be good on that. That's no good. No good. But hey, I was hungry.
It's the best answer to anyone asking you what that mouth do.
Sure. And finally, Cami, sound up for this, as I believe this is an actual real golf broadcast. Let's listen.
I always used to love to look up there and see those two balls, my playing competitor's ball, and just try to show off and say, watch this, I'm going to stick it inside both of you. Seems a little deep. Oh.
Oh.
It's golf. It's a gentleman's sport. And thus concludes the Pinder Report. Oh, whatever day it is today, the final day of 2024, Cami. No gators, no puking, pretty clean. What do you say, Jack?
Very clean. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
We don't have
That
to
for our
ruin
good,
Cammy's day.
that for our good friends at Village Honda. A reminder: the Honda Civic continues to lead the way in value, reliability, and performance. The 2024 Civic, a 10 out of 10 in car and drivers comprehensive vehicle testing, and the Civic Type R and SI were ranked number 1 and 2 in the sport compact category. Village Honda, that huge selection of new inventory as well as used vehicles, all makes, all models, all budgets, and over 90 units on site and over 500 access to through their dealer group of the pre-owned. Make Village Honda your one-stop automotive destination in Calgary. It's the Northwest Auto Mall and online at villagehonda.com.
The only reason they're not 11 out of 10 is because then Pinder would have to kick off his shoe to start counting on his toes.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. Did you take any presents home from our drinky show? Because we had a nice stack of presents in the studio.
There were presents? I just reached a point in the evening where I felt it was best to duck out.
We all reached that at different times, Cami. But yes. Were you there before or after Rhett was shirtless at the table hammering beers?
Alas, I did miss that.
Shame.
It was shortly after the silent disco where you guys really messed up my boyfriend. I was like, I got to get this man in an Uber. He was so wild. The Uber driver had to put the child safety locks on.
That's probably for the better. Probably for the better. We did have a bunch of swag from our good friends at Origin, who we love, and they make our amazing beer. In fact, I've been enjoying some Barnburner Blondes and Afterburner Pale Ales here over the holiday season. If you're not familiar with the Origin story, it's pretty incredible. The Hiltons are 5th generation farmers in Strathmore area and have been growing the highest quality barley in the world for over 40 years. Barley, well, maybe we'll make some malt. Malt's good. Maybe we'll make some beer. Beer turns out to be really good as well. It's an incredible history that blends tradition and innovation for a truly unique experience producing great beer. They grow beer. It's the homegrown lager, the Mexican lager, the Pioneer IPA, Lazy Days, Hazy IPA, and Rockyford Raspberry, one of my favorites, not to mention a bunch of others. Visit them in their tap room at 60 Spruce Park Drive in Strathmore, or in Calgary at their new location. We're calling it the OC, Origin Calgary. More online at originbrewing.ca as well. And Cami, we've got a t-shirt and a 4-pack waiting for you at the studio whenever you're there now.
Yeah, I'll probably grab it on the way out.
Get a t-shirt for that man-child of yours, would you?
Yeah. And we'll enjoy some nice barley sandwiches for lunch.
Love it. We'll close the show with our Bet365 wagers of the day. Let's take a peek at the Canada-USA slate. What are the odds telling us here, Cami? Okay, there's lots here. So on the left-hand side, here's what we're looking at. Canada is a slight favorite over the Americans. It surprises me a touch. But again,
maybe,
you watch more.
home crowd advantage.
Sure.
Although we were talking about the pressure earlier, is it an advantage? They've had, I think, more than 18,000 strong every game.
If they're winning, it's an advantage. If they get down early, they're minus 125 on the money line. The Americans minus 112. Over under set at 6.5. The over is favored versus the under paying even money. I'm going to jump on a couple goal scorers. You said Berkeley Catton looks good. He may be due plus 280 for an anytime goal tonight. And I love James Hagens, the hockey player. So I'm going to jump on a Hagens American goal at plus 170. That for our great friends at Bet365. It's the world's largest sports betting platform. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Download the app. Use that code NATION. That's NATION when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
I mentioned it earlier. Hagen's got the 6 points. Catton had an assist on the game-winning goal against Germany. Been playing with Gavin McKenna a lot. I think he's due. He's a Seattle Kraken. Obviously, a first-round pick, a high pick from this year. But also keep an eye at 2:30 Mountain Time. We have Finland, Latvia. That's going to have some pretty huge implications because, as we know, this is a 3-point tournament, 3 points for a regulation win. Depending on how those two go, and if Canada loses in regulation, Finland or Latvia could potentially bump Canada down to third place or the quarterfinal matchups, which would mean facing like Czechia or Sweden in the quarters, which would not be fun.
So we've got playoff, college football playoff. We've got World Junior Hockey. We've got Flames and Canucks on a busy 13-game NHL slate. But also in Calgary, Cami, the Circle K, formerly the Max Midget tournament, is ongoing. What's the latest? I'm out of town. I'm out of the loop here.
Out of the loop. Well, like a few years ago, it was like Gavin McKenna, the Circle K. Maddox Schultz. 14 years old. He had 4 goals and 2 assists yesterday, including the game tying goal.
4 and 2.
The OT winner, helping the Regina Pat Canadians to beat Pittsburgh at the Circle K. Yeah, this is 17-year-olds at this tournament. He has 12 points in 4 games. So that's going to be pretty exciting there. They're facing Nax in the CSSHL. Yeah, they're just getting started right now. And then, we see Shattuck St. Mary's up there. Obviously a huge team. That's where Crosby, Parisi, all them used to play. Couple looks like our local team still in the mix here is Airdrie Bisons.
Yeah, sure. Burnaby Winter Club, Kelowna, a couple of BC teams squaring off on the other side. This is great hockey, Cami, and you mentioned it. It was McKenna a few years ago. Was it not Mickey DuPont's son Landon last year that had everyone slack-jawed watching him?
Sure was. Unbelievable. Yeah, with the Edge School.
Yeah.
Some really great players on that team. And he just won not Rookie of the Week, but our Player of the Week. He led all WHLers as a 15-year-old defenseman in points coming out of the break. Nuts.
Yeah, so, if you're drafting high in 2 years, it's crazy how young. 2027 draft? You've got the potential Hagens, Schaefer. That's the battle for this year. McKenna next year, and then the year after, DuPont. Incredible. These kids are so good. Have fun tonight, whether you're wandering around outside of our studio in Marta Loop or you're somewhere for fireworks. To all of our Barneys, we thank you for a great 2024. Jack, what have you got on tap tonight? More tire rolling down the hill with your pals or what?
I'm going to keep it between the lines tonight, I think. The last couple times I've been out have been far too much fun. I've lost my jacket. I've spent a lot of money. I sat in Hudson's for 14 hours straight.
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday. Wow.
That was a sweet deal. Boxing Day, half off. But
how did you not get bed sores from sitting that long?
I was moving around. One of my buddies actually,
Buck Hunter, Golden Tee.
One of my buddies, I think, literally sat there for 14 hours. I got my Steelers jacket. I'm like, okay, I'm putting this behind you so I don't lose it. Like, you haven't moved once. I'm gonna put this here, and it was there when I went to leave. But yeah, I don't know. I think some of the boys will just hang out and watch sports. If I end up somewhere, I'm in trouble.
Maybe your New Year's resolution can be to air tag your clothes.
Hey,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, or just sew in your name bar like Mom used to do when you went to camp when you were 8. Hey, that's a good move too. Guys, thanks for all you've done for us this year. Cami, you've been sensational ad on Afterburner. Good to see you on the main show today. Jack, thanks for being great at what you do and helping us grow so much in the digital space. Boomer and Rhett will be back on Thursday, and the three of us will be reunited on Friday. To everyone that's shared some time with us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen or watch, thanks. It's been a ton of fun doing what we get to do for an incredible cast of, I guess, viewers, listeners. I don't know what to call them, Barneys. 2025 will be even better. Thanks for being on this ride with us. And see you, buddies.